Hello! Try something new. A Saturday during the day live stream. Well, we've done this before, I think so, but just not when we're not covering an event. I think last time was we did this was Mad Mike, and then the other one was the Starman. But I figured we'd try a during the day weekend live stream. And there's a few things I have queued up for us to talk about. One being liquid water lake revealed on Mars. Looks like the South Pole of Mars has a giant frozen lake on it. It's pretty amazing. I'm reading from BBC News here. I'll swing it over here. You can probably not read it, but you can go along with me as we read the article. Liquid water lake revealed on Mars. Wonder what lurks beneath it. Hey, Groovin' Cat, welcome in. Hello. You guys might hear me from time to time feel like I'm talking to the third person. Well, it's people in chat. So, let's see. What researchers have found is evidence of an existing body of liquid water on Mars. What they believe to be a lake sits under the planet's south pole polar ice cap and is about 20 kilometers or 12 miles across. Previous research found possible signs of internal liquid water flowing on the Martian surface. But this is the first sign of a persistent body of water on the planet in present day. Lake beds like those exposed by NASA's Curiosity rover show water was present on the surface of Mars in the past. However, the planet's climate has since cooled due to its thin atmosphere, leaving most of its water locked up in ice. Wow. So, however, the planet's oops, sorry, missed a line. The result is exciting because scientists have long searched for signs of present-day liquid water on Mars, but these have come up empty or yielded ambiguous findings. It is also interesting to those studying the possibilities for life beyond Earth. So they're thinking liquid water many miles deep could hold life. Why not? It's water. The discovery was made by the MARSA, a radar instrument on the board the European Space Agency's ESA Mars Express orbiter. Here's a quote. It's probably not a very large lake, said Professor Roberto Orsori from the Italian National Institute of Astrophysics, who led the study. MARSA wasn't able to determine how thick the layer of water might be, but the research team estimated that the minimum was 1 meter. It's pretty deep. This really qualifies as a body of water, a lake, not some kind of meltwater filling some space between rock and ice, as it happens certain glaciers on Earth. How is it found? Well, radar instruments like MARSA examine the surface and immediate surfaces of the planet by sending out signal and examining what bounces back. The continuous white line at the top, I guess we're talking about right here. Probably I can't see it very well. There we go. Continuous white line at the top, I guess, shows just solid ground, and then you have little breaks, and maybe that's ice and water. So the continuous white line at the top of the radar results in marks being of the South Polar Layer deposit, a phyllo pastry-like accumulation of water, ice, and dust. Okay. Beneath this, researchers spotted something unusual, 1.5 kilometers under the ice, and a light blue, right here as you see. In light blue, you can see where the reflections from the bottom are stronger than the surface reflections. The surface reflections, this is something that to us tell the tale, the sign of presence of water, says Professor Asasi, whatever the hell his name is. Pretty impressive. So what do you think might lurk under that water? Weedman says flat Earth? No, we're talking about water on Mars, baby. As far as flat Earth goes, we believe in the Great Tortuga here. This is as close to flat Earth as you'll get on this channel. Hey, what's up, Chidoa777? Nice to see you guys in here. Yeah, so another topic that has always interested me and as well as scared me has been viruses. So what if we go down and explore? Say Elon Musk takes a crew down there and explores the ice and drills in there and lets something out. Brings it back to Earth. Excuse me. That would be kind of scary. Would definitely be scary. So yeah, I guess the importance is they've never found actual present day signs of water. I mean, they found signs of water, but never really ice or liquid water. So that's the big deal here. It's very cool. Grooving Cat says, I'll be happy with one alien microbe. That might be all it takes. One alien microbe. Then we'll all be visiting the Great Tortuga face to face. Here's another art. Speaking of viruses. Well, where's my virus? Oh, hold on here. Professional. I'm a professional. Don't worry, I'm a professional. Come here, show. Come here, new show folder. Come here, new show stories. What the heck? Here we go. Something you haven't really heard in the news, but more dangerous outbreaks are happening, and why aren't we worried about the next epidemic? I mean, if something's going to wipe us out on Earth, it's probably going to be a microbe. I would definitely think it would be some virus that comes for us in the night. Some nasty little virus. Like this dude wakes up, just starts attacking. So here's a interesting article. As the catastrophic Ebola outbreak killed 11,300 people and cost billions, the World Health Organization worked to lay the groundwork to make sure an outbreak never reached that level of global health security threat again. As part of its overhaul in 2015, the international body set about identifying which diseases had the highest risk for causing a widespread public health emergency. And little to no circumstances to prevent their spread in order to catalyze funding for the prevention. 3 years later, 6 of the 8 categories of diseases highlighted in the WHO's Blueprint Priority Diseases is, I guess, the name of the study. Lists were in the midst of outbreaks at the same time. So all these things that they're studying are, man, they're all on the edge of outbreaks right now as we speak, especially in in Africa, where people are eating bushmeat still. It's easy to you cut yourself while you're butchering a chimpanzee that has some kind of bizarre disease. There you go. You can, if it jump species, we're in deep shit. Especially with transportation these days. Somebody flying back from the Congo, excuse me, can just spread it to a whole plane. Then they spread it to, man, it's just a disaster. But these infectious diseases include the worst of the worst: Ebola, MERS, Zika, the Napalm virus, Lassa fever, Rift Valley fever. Haven't heard of some of these. So far, the outbreaks of these high fatality diseases and pathogens this year have caused at least 190 deaths and cost millions. But all of these diseases have the potential to strike again and grow, causing an epidemic that could kill thousands, devastating the world's economy and wreaking untold havoc. And all six were active outbreak situations as of this June. And that's unprecedented. And I believe part of it is the growing climate, the heat. Our world is, warming up. Viruses love wet heat, dampness and heat for microbes and viruses. Of course, they have to have something to feed on. The organization's Assistant Director General for Emergency Preparedness and Response is in his 25th year on the front lines of such outbreaks. Well, I'm glad we have somebody with some experience for a change. There are these black swan events. That's an interesting way to put it. There are these black swan events that could occur, and we have a duty to prepare for them because of our economies and our civilization are so dependent now on free movement of people, the capacity for trade, he told the Post. So anything that shuts down travel, which shut down economies, man, it's a big threat, a major threat. So scary stuff. Brian Borson, good morning to you. Thank you. Yeah, nice show to wake up to. The microbes eating your brain. So, man, the world would usually see 4 or 5 different high fatality disease outbreaks a year, but they've typically not happened at the same time. As this number, according to Ryan, who believes that this is likely to be the first time it's happened, well, on record anyway, he added, this was, in a sense, a global stress test for outbreak response. Wow. Why do you not hear this on the news a little bit more? I guess Donald Trump's tweets take precedence. Interesting. And while this year's outbreaks have been relatively contained, experts worry that the lack of investment in research and development as risk factors for outbreaks grow could lead to an outbreak they will not be able to stop. That doesn't just threaten lives, it could also threaten global security and stability. Got that right. The rise in risk factors. Part of the reason we know about more of these particularly worrying outbreaks is because of the positive advancements health systems worldwide have improved, meaning more people have access to medical care than ever before. And more institutions like WHO and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, among others, are tracking outbreaks and keeping better records of the threats. Even Congress is asking for more regular updates. Well, that's a good sign. Yeah, so it doesn't take much to... I don't think it takes much to take down the human race. We could all turn into zombies, right? Man, that would suck. It would suck to be a zombie. I don't know if it'd suck worse to be a zombie or be running from zombies. Groovin' Cat. Nanoparticles will destroy the world soon. Well, maybe they might either save it or destroy it, or start destroying it, then save it. You never know. Nanotechnology is pretty promising, but it's, if it's goofed, it could be pretty scary too. Just like the gene splicing, the CRISPR stuff, where they're splicing genes when they're just experimenting. They could create a super virus of some sort. Antibiotics don't do like they used to. Viruses are much more resistant and they evolve faster. Seem to be evolving faster, where they can even the best of our antibiotics have no effect on some of these viruses. So it's good to hear that they're pouring some money into research and development of this stuff. Well, hopefully we won't have to use it. So what's shifting and changing is not the bugs, it's the humans. Okay, interesting. What's changed is our relationship with those viruses, our relationship with the rainforest. Ooh, see? Earth is fighting back. You start cutting deeper and deeper into rainforests where people haven't gone for thousands of years. There's no telling what you're going to find, No telling what you're going to find in the rainforest. And it might be the Earth. It might be the Earth's defense system. You start chopping into it. Well, it's going to fight back, as it should. So people, and more of them, are living much closer together, driving up the risk for an outbreak in a massive urban center. Worldwide travel makes the spread of something like this easier than ever before. And the changing environment, from different exposure to parts of the world, a general disregard for habitat, and continuous climate change means humans are seeing things they haven't faced before in areas that they've never seen them before. Just take a look at the sub-Saharan Africa. The Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness and Innovations. This is the largest Lassa epidemic that's ever been observed in history, and then you throw in Ebola outbreak into a Democratic Republic of the Congo. It's not trivial. So they're stacking, viruses on top of viruses on top of viruses here, outbreaking all at the same time. And I think they're saying it has a lot to do with climate and people. Gathering in, as they do, in one spot and living closer together and taking out big swaths of the environment to build places to live. So that's scary shit. So not only are individual lives at stake, but as we have already seen, a crisis such as pandemic flu, SARS, or Ebola can devastate entire health systems and economies, stall future development, and even lead to political instability. The Center for Global Health, CDC, told Huffington Post she pointed to 800 killed by SARS in 2003. And that had a $40 billion price tag. Jesus. Man. The cost of the next pandemic could be over $60 billion, she says. Gaps in the public health emergency response capabilities remain a serious vulnerability for the entire world, she added. While we don't know when or where the next pandemic will occur, we know one is coming. So for sure, one is on its way. It's just going to be when and where it strikes is the question. So it's not very fun to think about. But yeah, I mean, the more we chop into the rainforests and everything else, for a cheap instant monetary gain. You know, it's different if there was an indigenous tribe there and they're chopping down a little bit of trees to make stuff and for fuel. Well, that wouldn't make much of a dent at all. But we're talking about on an industrial scale, cutting down trees, like the palm root or the palm oil, where they just giant swaths of rainforest are being chopped down so they can grow these palm trees to make palm oil to put in our snacks. So next time you see something with palm oil in it, you might not want to buy it. Okay, on to something more, well, it's as interesting, but not as scary. We have England, since their drought, since it's warming up everywhere, they had a little drought, and that drought revealed a giant 4,500-year-old Irish, like Stonehenge. You can see it here in this picture. If I can swing it over here. This outline, well, it's not letting me size the image. There we go. But if you can see the outline here, it's because of the drought in this farmland where the stuff didn't grow. They can see the imprint from an aerial view of a 4,500-year-old Irish Stonehenge. Groovin' Cat says, we need to plant more trees. I agree, but we can't plant them fast enough as they can cut them down. Trees take years and years and years and years and years to grow. Of course, pine trees, oak trees. I got some new pine trees and oak trees in my backyard that just naturally seeded themselves. And those suckers, the last 4 years, have just shot up. About the same. I think the pine tree's beating the oak tree by a little bit, but I'm keeping them going. They're right on the fence line, so I should cut them down, but I don't care. If they want to mess up the fence, who cares? It's probably hold up the fence in 10 years. That'll be what's holding it up. Anyway, back to this weird Irish Stonehenge that was found. The Inverell Isle has not been so green as of late. Ireland is currently undergoing a historic drought, with some areas of normally damp island experiencing the least amount of rain in some 160 years. It's a sobering look into the future. Since climate change is expected to hit Ireland particularly hard, but there is one positive, the dry weather, that they found this cool little 4,500-year-old henge. They're not calling it a Stonehenge, they're just calling it a henge. Evidence of the prehistoric earthwork was, maybe it wasn't stones, was first observed by Anthony Murphy, who runs the website Mythical Ireland. Since the heat wave and drought have been revealing crop marks of ancient castles and the Iron Age forts in Wales and England in recent weeks, Murphy decided to fly his drone over Broyne Valley to see if anything new was showing up in his area. Murphy was shocked when the drone revealed the outline of a circle stretching almost 500 feet in diameter in a field he flew over. He shouted to his friend, photographer Ken Williams, who was also flying his drone nearby. We knew fairly quickly that what we were seeing was something very special. A henge, Murphy recounts. He sent on their images to archaeologists to confirm that indeed the drone pilots had found a footprint of an unknown ancient henge. Would be up to 4,500 years old. So that's pretty incredible. I think the aliens made it. I think it's a landing strip. Or was it just a bunch of weird old druids? Yeah, they need to have Weedman's planting trees right there in chat. See, it's not so hard. Too bad they don't have a pot leaf emoji. So, what do you guys think that hinge was about? I wish they would give us a direction of what where the mouth was pointing, east or west, or I guess like Stonehenge. I never went. My sister went to Stonehenge when she got out of college. She thought it was pretty amazing, but I guess they used it for astrological type stuff, and you know, you could track the sun and the stars, as most of the ancients did. That sounds like a race car just flew by. Oh yeah, here's another very, very important article. See what you can guess what that is. This comes from space.com, and you guys may have already heard, but they observed a star zoom past a monster black hole, and it confirmed Einstein's theory of relativity. So, for the first time ever, researchers have watched a star race past a supermassive black hole at the heart of the Milky Way, verifying that the motion showed the effects of general relativity, as predicted by Albert Einstein. The stars of the Milky Way orbit a gargantuan black hole called, what does that say? Oh, Sagittarius A, which is generally quiet as viewed from Earth, except for ripping apart the occasional object that ventures too close. The black hole's mass is 4 million times that of the Sun. Good God. Think about that. 4 million times the mass of the Sun. Man. Groovy Cat says Einstein was a badass. You got that right. Definitely a fantastic mind. So, it's 4 million times the mass of the Sun, and exhibits our galaxy's strongest gravitational field, making it and a small group of stars orbiting it at high speed a perfect proving ground for extreme effects predicted by Einstein's theory of general relativity. For 26 years, researchers have been observing the center of the Milky Way using instruments from the European Southern Observatory, or ESO, the galactic center of our laboratory to test gravity. At the Paris Observatory, a co-author of the new study said at the ESO news conference, July 26th, Einstein's theory of relativity explained. Astronomers have used the new infrared observations from the Gravity Cinephron and NACO instruments on the ESO, very large telescope, in Chile to follow a star known as 52, which is part of a group of fast-moving stars orbiting the supermassive black hole located 26,000 light-years from Earth. In May 2018, these astronomers witnessed, did I say 52? I'm sorry, it was S2. Witnessed the Sun, named S2, pass very close to this black hole. At the time, S2 was moving extremely fast, 15.5 million miles per hour. Holy shit. Think about that. 15.5 million miles per hour. Good golly. Man. So, by comparing position and velocity measurements taken by gravity and Synfrony, these instruments, and previous measurements taken off the S2, the team found that the warped light from the star was consistent with predictions based on general relativity's description of how gravity bends space-time. How gravity bends space-time. It's kind of bending my brain. Wow. Some crazy shit. Let's see if we can enlarge this. Right on. So here's the supermassive black hole. Here's the orbit of S2. Here's its closest approach. Wow, so I guess it actually has an orbital period of 16 years, and it's going 25 million kilometers an hour. These numbers are just out of the. I mean, these numbers are out of this world. Absolutely. I mean, geez. So this is what they call redshift. You can tell the light. I'm not an astrophysicist or an astronomer, so I can't really tell you. But well, it says here, redshift tells us how gravity affects protons. Here we go. Redshift tells us how gravity affects protons as they travel through the universe. An astronomer and professor in the Department of Physics and Astronomy at the University of California, Los Angeles, who is not involved in the research, told Space.com. The supermassive black hole's gravitational field stretched the light. Think about it. It stretched the light. Not even light is fast enough to get out of a black hole. Such a gravitational force that it stretches light. Think about that for a second. So the supermassive black hole's gravitational field, so strong, stretched the light leaving S2, and the change in the wavelength of the light from S2 aligns with what is predicted by Einstein's theory according to the statement. The new measurements and results don't agree with what we predicted by the simpler Newtonian theory of gravity. The researchers said that at the news conference, Frank Eisenhower, senior staff scientist at the Max Planck Institute of Extraterrestrial Physics and principal investigator for gravity, and the Synfrony spectrograph showed a vivid graph highlighting the divergence. I guess that's the graph we just looked at, highlighting the divergence in the light. So, I mean, it's pretty incredible. So Einstein was right, as we all figured he was. He's been right about everything else, just about. He failed to come up with the law of everything, where everything kind of fits together. So we're still wonderful things to figure out. Still wonderful things to figure out on this planet of ours. It's pretty amazing. So let's see what's next. Oh, here's a funny story. We're going to go to something that's I like this. This is a great story. Only in Japan, guys. So it seems that Japan is having a ninja shortage. This is a real article, a real story. Japan's ninja shortage. Iga, a small Japanese city and the birthplace of the ninja, is facing a serious problem. Today on the show, Sally Herships gives to discuss the city's plan to use ninjas to fight depopulation. This is what they're doing. So the small little town is being depopulated because, you know, Japan is getting older and older, like a lot of countries, and I think in 20, maybe 15 years to 20 years, they're going to have everybody's going to be older. There's going to be less young people than there are old people. Anyway, IGA Japan is facing a serious problem that there aren't enough people training to be ninjas. Not even for they're paying $85K a year for you to come train as a ninja, according to information the Foreign Press Center for Japan obtained through its research. Ninja performers can make between $23,000 and $85,000 a year. In an effort to highlight labor shortage and depopulation in Japan, we reported that several Japanese cities are hoping to increase ninja-based tourism. The example of 85,000 was illustrated on illustrative example and does not reflect any specific instance of in IGA itself. So you're not going to make 85 grand probably, unless you become super ninja, you know. Unless you got Chuck Norris over there teaching ninjas. I don't know. Chuck is getting a little long in the tooth. He might get his ass kicked. So, who wants to go to Japan and train as a ninja? Looks like a pretty good gig. Groovin' Cat's ready to go. Hell yeah. I like this gif of this old dude giving the cops some hell. Check him out. He's taking pepper balls to the face. Still throwing some kicks. Check him out. Never surrender. Never say die. Never surrender. Let's see. On to something else. I thought that was a funny story that you guys might enjoy. Oh, here's another kind of scary one. Pentagon sees quantum computing as key weapon for space war. I guess so, since they got to pinpoint where everything is in orbit. If you mess up too much, it's gonna look like Gravity with a bunch of space junk flying around the planet, and we'll lose GPS, we'll lose communications, we'll lose everything. It won't be good. We'll lose a lot. Do you know how many things are based on GPS that have a big impact on our economy? Huge amounts. Probably a huge section of the economy would be knocked out if GPS was knocked out. And something, if you guys don't know, there's 3 different GPS systems in orbit. One is ours, the United States. We built the first one. Russian has theirs, and I think China has one, a GPS system, which is, I think, 24 to 26 satellites that are constantly all around the globe, so you can pinpoint where the hell you are on this sphere. So let's read that. Let's find a gift to some scary quantum computing. Whoa, hey, whoa. That was a misfire. So, here's a... How many hands are on that keyboard? That's human-powered quantum computing there when you have 16 hands on one keyboard. So, top Pentagon officials sat down with us a few weeks ago with the Air Force scientists at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio to discuss the future of quantum computing in the United States military. Quantum computing is one area that the Pentagon worries that is playing catch-up while China continues to leap ahead. The technology is being developed for many civilian applications, and the military sees it as potentially a game-changing for information and space warfare. The U.S. Air Force particularly is focused on what is known as quantum information science, the most destructive space weapons concept ever. Will be controlled by such a computer. Man, it's just not good. We shouldn't, can't we just fight down here? We don't need to be fighting up there too. Donald Trump's retarded idea of Space Force. We need a Space Force. We already have a Space Force. It's called the Air Force. Anyway, artificial intelligence algorithms, highly secure encryption for communication satellites, and accurate navigation that does not require GPS signals are some of the most coveted capabilities that would be added by quantum computing. And just think about if you think your passwords are safe, wait till a quantum computer tries to crack your passwords. Probably take a millisecond. Boop, 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 boop. The Air Force is taking this very seriously and have invested for quite a while. The Pentagon is especially intrigued by the potential of quantum computing to develop secure communications and inertial navigation in GPS denied and contested environments. It's a key area where that would be for guidance systems for ballistic missiles, I bet you. Absolutely. Because when you deny modern navigation systems for ballistic missiles rely on GPS and also point of sight communication with, like, if it's especially it's sea-based missiles. Shoot one up, it communicates with the ship until it does a handoff for GPS or satellite, and then it's also got already mapped out terrain maps inside of it, like a cruise missile does. The early days of cruise missiles did that, but they use various different techniques because, like if you're shooting at, say, a Russian ship, well, they'll have an area around them where they can deny or jam GPS and satellite technology, so the missile has to be smart enough to detect this pop-up threat, as they call it, and navigate around it and still hit target. And we are the best at building these things still. USA. So, never fear, folks. We got plenty of technology guarding us, and it's better than everybody else's still. As far as ballistic missiles and aerospace, we're still doing pretty good. Thank goodness. But if I don't know, we'll start falling back behind if we don't start getting more people in college and getting people to invest in going to engineering schools and science. And I'm one of these bleeding hearts from the West Coast, thinks that everybody should be able to go to college for free. Why not? I think a good society is going to be built on a good education. Anyway, my opinion. So some of these technologies will make years to materialize, he said, and timing, we are just in the, right now, we are just in the birth of quantum computing. We're in the birth of computers. Computers are still, babies. It's only been, 30 years, 40 years since, a personal computer. Something you can sit on a desk and put in your home, not something the size of a trailer to calculate, just to do basic calculations on. Size of a house that had less computing power than the earliest iPhone. But so quantum clocks are viewed as a viable alternative to GPS. That's interesting. Dang. In scenarios that I just stuttered. Did you hear it? Not making fun of stutterers, of course, me being a slight one. GPS in scenarios that require perfect synchronization across multiple weapon systems and aircraft, for example. We're looking at GPS-like precision in denied environments, he said. It often takes several updates to GPS throughout the day, synchronized platforms. We want to be able to move past that, so if we are denied environment, we can still stay synchronized. Yep, Groovin' Cat says, we need more scientific-minded people in America. Well, you know what? Since King Trump took office, it seems like a lot of, and the great climate deniers are all in the Republican Party. It seems like one of the biggest number of scientific-based people are running for office now, so with scientific backgrounds. So we have a great number of scientists running for office, and we have a great number of women running for office, and I think both of those things are a fantastic thing, and I hope they make it in and do good work. And if they don't do good work, we need to kick them out too and find somebody else that can do what's right. So, the global race is underway for quantum computing. Who do you think will win? The Chinese are pretty good at it, but there's, Chinese have problems with some technologies. The Chinese and Russians have always kind of, taken from our lead as far as aircraft and weapon systems go. They kind of follow what we do and try to match it, and they don't exactly match it. They're some great engineers, but something a little different about their process, I guess, maybe over there. But I think they have great schools and things, but they don't quite match what we can do yet. They're always a little bit behind, but not saying that that's not saying that they're not dangerous, because it would be a hell of a war. Nobody wants to see that. But, yeah, I think that, I think we're going to be all right as far as defense in the United States is concerned. We still got some pretty interesting missile technology. There's shit out there that, there's stuff we have no idea. We have no idea what's been developed the last 10 years on certain fronts. And that's the way it should be. We should know. I just hope they're not itching I hope the Pentagon's not itching to use it, Hey, Iran looks pretty cool. Let's go try out some new stuff with, all the stuff we developed in the 70s and 80s got tried out in the Gulf War, and to great success, as a matter of fact. A lot of things performed to great success, like the Tomahawk cruise missiles were just magical. The guide systems were fantastic for that day. They're still used today, of course, and I'm sure they've been updated very many times throughout the years. General Dynamics made those things in the beginning, and I think they sold them off to Raytheon, I believe, makes them now. So they've been updated quite a few times. Yeah, there was one more. Since it's Shark Week, I wanted to do a shark story. I can't find it. Let me find where there's his name's Deep Blue. He's the biggest great white shark ever recorded. Yeah, here it is. Let me turn off this music so we don't get a copyright strike. Check out this guy. Meet Deep Blue. Look at the size of this shark compared to those dudes in the cage. The biggest great white shark ever filmed. Good Lord, he's a monster. Big, beautiful bastard. 20 feet, more than 50 years old. Isn't that amazing? Look at him. What's up, dudes? Give me some food. Why don't you guys come out here and play? Oh, it's a girl. She was very pregnant. So Deep Blue is a female shark. She is a beauty. So, man, just the horrible things that I think people get the wrong idea of sharks. Sharks are pretty neat creatures. They're kind of the jets. They're kind of the jet aircraft of the ocean. They're so sleek and fast. Incredibly fast. Like dolphins. But very interesting. Yep, Big Blue is a girl. She was pregnant at the time they filmed her there. Let's see here. We are closing in on an hour, so I think we should all worship. Stop the show by worshiping the Great Tortuga. I believe she is also a female. The giver of life. And as always, your thoughts and prayers directed to the Great Tortuga turn automatically into space lettuce to nourish her as she so willingly carries us through the universe on her back. Now, what the elephants eat, I don't know. I haven't written that part of the Great Tortuga scripture yet. Maybe you guys could help fill that in. This is a group effort. A group religion. We are in a judgment-free zone. So all hail the Great Tortuga, all hail the cosmic turtle. All hail the Great Tortuga. For she carries us through the universe selflessly upon her back. Your prayers go directly to her in the form of space lettuce to nourish her, to ensure a safe ride through the universe. So, folks, well, I'm glad you guys came in for a Saturday afternoon show. I kind of like the afternoon show. To tell you the truth, I've been meaning to do a show late night all week, but I've been so busy working during the day. I been getting up like 6 o'clock in the morning and falling asleep like 9:30, like an old 90-year-old man. So I figured I better get a show in. I plan to do another show Sunday night, late night Sunday night show probably. But until then, I appreciate all you guys watching the show as always. And if you'd like to support the show, please feel free to do so in the links below. And we do not run ads on this show because we don't have 1,000 subscribers. That's the new law. You have to have 1,000 subscribers. And, oh, by the way, we're past 450. I think we're at 456 subscribers, something like that. It's pretty amazing that people subscribe at all, if you ask me. But I'm glad y'all did, and I'm glad you guys do. It's very cool. I appreciate it very much. So until next time, remember, worship the Great Tortuga. She loves you all. Adios, folks.